Can you believe it's been a year since we made Black Briar Mead? It's been a year. It really has. It says here right on the bottle. So this finished at 1.004 and 12.4%, but we know what you really want, the pour can. So something we noticed, this is slightly petulant, meaning it has some carbonation. It ended at 1.004. I'm wondering if it might have just fermented a little bit more. Now that could be very dangerous if too much. The couple points that it probably did, it probably isn't a big deal, but it is something to be aware of.
I also made a bit of a mess.
Oh yeah, she spilled it all over. Because she had to pour 2 glasses.
The color is really pretty. It's very clear.
Yep, there's little tiny bubbles in there too.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
I think it's
a little more than
carbonated.
it's a little more than petulant. It's lightly carbonated. Yeah.
The aroma is lovely.
Smells really nice. What am I getting? I'm getting like blueberries.
It's like almost hibiscus. There's no hibiscus.
I don't know what's in this. See, this is the advantage. We don't go back and look. So we are flying blind here, especially since this isn't even my recipe. Flying blind.
I'm getting some herbal notes.
Yeah, there's something earthy in there. Definitely a berry of some kind, whether it's raspberry or blueberry, I can't really say. Might even be hibiscus. Could even be. But hibiscus would really color this.
I think it was blackberry.
Okay, well, blackberry, raspberry, blueberry. Yeah, I could see that. This is awesome though. I love doing that. There's very little ethanol, but there's also not a lot of honey character to this. I'm not getting tons of honey. It smells sweet-ish.
It does smell sweet-ish, yeah. And I'm not getting honey.
Not getting any foot.
Nope.
No youngness. I mean, it's a year old. I wouldn't expect to.
It smells really nicely matured.
Oh, wait, there. Just I mean, if you dig, there's a tiny bit of fun.
I am digging and I'm trying to figure out.
I got my schnoz way in there.
What that herb is. I want to say it's juniper. Did we put juniper? I don't know.
You know, you might be right.
All right, let's get in there.
Wait a minute. I think it is juniper.
All right. I think our guess is blackberry and juniper.
It is definitely more than petulant, but less than fully carbonated. It is not as sweet on the taste as it is on the smell.
Nope.
It's quite dry, which means it probably fermented those last couple of points or a couple more points, and it made it slightly petulant. Which means we need to find any other bottles we might have and release some pressure on those.
It's got like a tart, but almost sweet
tart
aftertaste. I'm getting I think it's like berry sweetness though, rather than honey sweetness.
Yeah. It's kind of, okay. It's a little conflicting because you get a fruitiness from the berries, but there isn't any sweetness to back it up. So it just comes through as a little bit harsh, astringent to me. It's not horrible. It's a little more astringent than I would like.
And it's kind of peppery. See if you get the peppery.
I kind of do. Kind of. I think the carbonation is actually helping this a little bit. Mm-hmm. Cold, like really cold, really, really cold.
Super cold, this would be,
this might be better. There's definitely a pepper after note.
I would like it to be sweeter. I would like it to have a honey.
Now, you got to remember, we made this to follow a recipe.
Right. And they didn't want you to age it.
This was supposed to be drank.
You were supposed to drink this a long time ago.
Yeah, it was supposed to be drank in like 3 days or something. Here we are, 365 days later. And actually, it was started May 7th of 2022, bottled on June 8th. So it's a year and a month.
I don't dislike it. I just want it to be better. Does that make sense?
I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. Well, I don't like it. Just have to be honest. I don't like it. There's nothing wrong with it per se. It's not my taste preference. It's not my flavor profile. And it's far too dry for what it is. If this was sweeter, I think I would appreciate it. So here's my suggestion. Here's what we should do. We should analyze this, give a full tasting, which we're starting to do here, and then maybe sample some with a little bit more honey added. See if that improves it. Because I think that might actually be the answer. Are you sure you want to do this? You put it all the way in. And you pour.
Oh, I can't do that for the pork, you know.
I know. I cheat.
I want to say that this is juniper.
Yep. That's probably why I'm not liking it so much, too. Mm-hmm. I love blackberries when they're sweet, but it does need some sweetness. By the way, this didn't flocculate incredibly well. There's chunks of stuff coming up from the bottom of the bottle. Seriously, it's chunks of lees just coming up. I mean, it happens. You always get a little bit of sediment over time.
And lately, with our brews, we've been letting them sit longer.
Yeah, so the bottom
that has helped a lot. So, side note here, that has nothing to do with this particular tasting, but if you're making a mead or a wine or whatever, and you're done, it's racked, it's ready to bottle, but you still have it in a vessel and properly airlocked,
leave it for another month.
Just let it sit some more.
Yeah.
Trust
another month,
us.
2 months, 3 months.
You will have a much cleaner bottle as a
You're
final
also
result.
bulk aging, which some people say that the difference between bulk aging and bottle aging is with bulk aging, you have a larger area for all the proteins and compounds to pull from. So it can sometimes give a little bit more complexity than in a bottle where you have a smaller colony. It's kind of like using a whole packet of yeast versus a half packet or a small amount. You have more information for it to work from. I have not seen any official studies on this, but that is the theory that I found out.
And sure, and it makes sense if you think about particles in general, and you can go even further scientifically into that with ions and neutrons.
Well, the thing is, it's always rebuilding itself.
Right, and so certain elements are going to want to attract other certain elements. And so if they're all together in a larger vessel, then they'll have a better chance of finding each other, which is what Brian was saying.
Yep, same thing.
So, yay. Science, it's a thing.
Yeah, in case you didn't catch any of that, when a brew is aging, it's constantly remaking itself, okay? There's protein chains that are forming and breaking and reforming. There's constantly new compounds being formed, and that's why they change over time. That's why aging can be somewhat unpredictable, but the same kind of thing will do roughly the same kind of thing almost every time in similar conditions. How's that for some caveats for you?
My understanding with that is that the alcohol acts as a catalyst to these changes.
Yep, because alcohol is a solvent, and so is water. So those two solvents work to break things down, but they also let things that are simpler form back together again. So there's constantly a breaking down and a reforming, and that's why they taste different over time, and they get better. I'm not sure this got better.
I think it got better on what it was, but because it did have time to break down some of the fruit notes and I believe release some of the juniper notes, it's not working for you because you don't do that.
Nope, I don't like juniper and I don't like dry fruit.
Where for
I like
me,
dried fruit, but not dry fruit.
It's not offending me as much, but I'm
not offended, I just don't like it.
I love gin, so, there you go.
Yeah, this has a little bit of a gin-like quality.
It's gin-esque.
It's gin adjacent.
All right, so I poured that for you specifically so you could do your thing and add honey to it.
Oh, no, I'm going to pour more and add honey to it.
Okay.
We got to do a score first.
All right. Okay. I don't think we actually gave this a score originally. And I'm going to try to put my foot down from here on forward and say, nope, we're going to score everything because that's part of our shtick. So.
All right. Our scoring system goes 1 through 10 with the occasional 11 for those otherworldly good types of things. Below 1, we might talk about, but you won't probably see us drink because that is saved for things that are toxic, dangerous, or otherwise just, dump it out. But 1 through 10 goes, well, actually, let me say it this way. From 10 through 1, it goes from awesome to awful. Somebody said that the other day. I like that.
I like that.
I always go 1 to 10, but it should be 10 to 1.
That's nice. That works.
So, basically to me, my breaking point is kind of like a 5-ish is, I'd drink that. With varying levels as it gets up to 10. Below a 5 is probably something that I'd leave on the shelf for like 5 years and never touch. Bring it to a party. Here, try this. Oh, this isn't good. Yeah, I know. That's why I brought it. I'm joking. I don't really do that much.
We don't go to parties.
Right. Anyway, so I have a score.
I do too.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
4.5.
I think that's the lowest scores we've given.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, I think Nettle Mead was the only one lower. Yeah, that's not high. That's an average of 4 between the two of us. It's just not great. I mean, here's the thing. Technically, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the flavor combo is not my thing at all. Like this is, you might as well just add black licorice and coconut flakes to this, and I'd be like, no. See?
Why do you do that? All right, go grab some honey and I'll.
Well, aren't you going to explain your 4.5?
My 4.5. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So I couldn't give it a 5, but I couldn't go too far below a 5. So that's why I gave it the 4.5. This is like it's almost too. Sure, yeah. It's kind of almost there.
There are other things that I wouldn't drink that I wouldn't drink before I drink this. So there.
Let's put some honey in it.
Yeah, let's try it. There's not much left in this, so we're using it.
Honey's gotten really expensive lately. I'm sure you've noticed that. And in our area particularly because
our usual suppliers
we're friends with beekeepers. We had a really bad drought up until recently. And so if there's no wildflowers, then there's nothing for the bees to get, right? So it's really affected the industry.
That's why we've been making a lot more ciders and wines this year too, because we realize honey's going to be harder for people to get, so we're making less mead and trying to do more wines, which it's a fine line between wine and mead. I mean, one's fermented honey, one's fermented sugars of some kind. In a general sense, let's not start the whole naming convention war. But getting honey to do it is just more difficult right now because it's more expensive. So we understand. There's a lot of foam coming out of this.
Yeah, I think this is why it's so dry because it
fermented the remainder of the honey. It's better. I still don't like the flavors. I mean, maybe it's like a 4 for me now. 4.5.
To me, it's like a 6.
Okay. We can keep adding honey until I go, oh, this is a 9, but now I'm just drinking honey. Because that's the thing. And this is why we make so many different recipes. There are things that she likes that I don't, and vice versa. And there are things that we both like. And there are other things that a lot of you guys have recommended that we've never tried, or we know aren't really our favorites, but we'll try them to show a wide variety. Because mead, wine, ciders, there is such a wide range of what you can make. That's why when somebody says, I don't like mead. Okay, what mead did you have? Oh, I had this one time. Okay, you can't say you don't like mead. It's like saying, I don't like wine. What wine did you have? I don't know, but I had it once. There's like 5,000 kinds of wine.
Like the full gamut from champagne to Moscato.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. There's
maybe you don't like all wines, but you haven't tried enough to really make that assessment. So, in my opinion, this is, no matter what we do, unless we just make this sickly, sickly sweet, in which case it's going to be sickly, sickly sweet, it's never going to be something that I'm going to like. That said, she is appreciated more. And somebody out there is going to go, you guys are out of your minds. This is 12. And that's great. I'm all for that, and I agree. Had we actually followed the directions 100% to the letter and drank this after 3 days, I think it would taste more like what we just tried. Because it would have been still sweet.
Sure.
That was the idea.
Sure.
You're supposed to consume this before it finished fermenting. So they expected you to not bottle it, not stabilize it in any way, nothing. We did the more safe approach when we did it. So if you do this from the book, it's from the Elder Scrolls Cookbook. If you do this straight from the book, remember, you need to consume this very quickly after you make it too. You can't, oh, well, I'm going to drink it in 3 days, but then there's still half a gallon left. It's going to keep fermenting. It's going to keep going. You can't leave it. It has to be consumed relatively quickly to keep along with that recipe. I think that's why they make smaller batches too.
Yeah. Also, because of the complexity of a full brewing process is probably too much for a book where they have more than just.
I mean, it's a book. It's not. It's a book about a video game. It's not really meant to be real. It's supposed to just give you an idea.
Sure.
Something for fun.
But that said, I think it's a fun experiment, and it's
a great way to get started.
I would suggest people to try and have fun, and you can use that as a basis to go forward and explore more options.
And it brings back memories of the game. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.